Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to IAL Economics Telikilaas. I am Lisha Fahmi from Addo High School. Today we are going to study nature of economics and positive and normative statements. This is the first topic of Unit 1. These are the lesson objectives that we will be focusing on. The first one is identify that economics is a social science that uses scientific method. Describe how economists use models and theories. Analyze how ceteris paribus assumption is used in building models and drawing conclusions. And distinguish between positive and normative economic statements and how they are useful in making economic decisions. The first segment of the lesson is scientific method. What is scientific method? Scientific method is where scientists formulate questions for which they need answers. These questions are tested based on research and then formed into hypotheses, and these hypotheses are experimented and analyzed and concluded and converted into theories. Now, I will give you an example to make it simple. For example, in a pandemic, the unemployment rate in tourism sector will increase. That is the hypothesis that we are building. Now, using evidences that we have and available in the economy, we can test whether this statement can be proven or not. That hence becomes a hypothesis, then turns into a theory. Now, what happens to theories? Once theories become universally accepted, it turns into laws. You must have heard about the law of demand, the law of supply. These are first questions turned into hypotheses, then turned into theories, then turned into laws. Okay. Moving on to the next segment. In the next segment, we are going to find out whether economics is a science, that too whether it's a social science or not. Science is divided into two segments, that is natural sciences and social sciences. Natural sciences are concerned with studying nature, while social science is concerned with human behavior and societies. And natural sciences deal with controlled variables, while social sciences deal with complete opposite variables which are spontaneous, unpredictable, uncontrollable, and it is about human emotions and human behavior. The next point we are going to discuss is the type of data these two sciences deal with. In natural sciences, they deal with experimental data which can be done, the experiments can be done in laboratories, while social sciences deal with experiential data which is about observations, interactions with people. The next contrast is natural sciences work within a closed system while social science work in an open system. With this comparison, it is evident that economics is more on social science side. Why? Let's look at the definition here. Economics is a social science because it uses scientific methods to build theories that can explain the behavior of individuals, groups and organizations. So, economics deals with questions, hypotheses, then analyze them, research them, experiment them, and then turn them into theories which gives us clear understanding of how individuals, groups and organizations behave in different conditions. Hence, it is a social science. Moving on to the next segment of the lesson, theories and models. As in natural sciences, economics also use theories and models. Why do we use theories and models? This is because it provides us answers to the questions we have, such as why are we falling down? Why aren't we going up? Why demand is increasing when price is decreasing? And also it provides us information on how to behave once there is a decision taken. For example, when the price of the business increases, what would happen to the demand? Depending on the type of the good, demand could increase or decrease. So they can base their decision based on the model that gives them the required answer. But in economics, there's a little difference in how we use theories and models. In other sciences, theory and models, these terms are used interchangeably. They mean the same thing. While in economics, theory is generally expressed in looser terms than a model. Let's look into that. In economics, economic theory is expressed in words, while economic model is expressed in mathematical terms. This is an example that is provided in your textbook, hence we are using it here. The theory here is consumption is dependent on income. We can express it or calculate and check this hypothesis or theory using this formula. CT or current consumption is equal to 567 plus 0.852 YT, that is current income. Now, this formula will be used many times in economics. It's a very simple formula. We will go into depth once we start studying economics, demand and supply and elasticities and so on. Okay, so it is very clear now what theories are and what models are in economic perspective. Theories are expressed in words and models are expressed in mathematical terms which can be calculated and proved. For example, demand. That is a theory. We can use the formulas and models that is created to prove how demand and price is related. Moving on to the next segment, theories and models require simplification. Why? Simplification is the key to make these theories and models simpler than the reality. Reality is complex. It has many variables that keep on behaving in different ways unless we simplify it. Let's take the example of the map. To be realistic, to be 100% authentic, if we make a map, the map will be the same size as the globe, but will it be of any use? If you are asking Google to show the location to where you want to go, for example, from Rasmi Dandu National Stadium in Male to Pizamia in the same location, region, if we ask Google to give the path and the direction and the time that will take us to move to that point, if Google gives us the exact same size as the real world map, then will it be as simple as this? No. We will be confused, it wouldn't make any sense and it will be completely useless. Hence, this type of simplifications is used even in theories and models. Simplification implies that some of the factors in the model is distorted or removed so that attention can be given to the exact point where we want it to be. Okay? Hence, models and theories should be simple. That's why we use assumptions and ceteris paribus. Now, you must have heard about ceteris paribus many times in your O-level classes. It's the same thing here, doesn't change anyway. Same definition, same meaning, same use and need in theories and models we are going to study in the A-level as well. An important way in which economists simplify the reality is through ceteris paribus condition. What is ceteris paribus? It is a Latin term or phrase which means other things remain constant or other things equal. Okay? Now, let's take an example which we are very familiar of. For example, when the price of Samsung Galaxy S20, that is the latest mobile that the company launched, if they reduce the price, what would happen? Yes, the first thing that will come to your mind will be, if the price falls, definitely demand will increase, right? Because unknowingly in your brain, you have applied this ceteris paribus. What did you do? You kept everything else constant and you focused on what will happen to your income or what you will spend on the good. Hence, assumption is that when prices fall, demand will increase, you will buy more of it, right? But what if you don't like Samsung, you're more of an iPhone person? Would you go for this? No. What if the trends, fashions, what about your income, what about the changes in the population? Would they behave like this? Do you think the pensioners, would they go for this? Do you think low income earners, would they go for it even with the low price? No. Moving on, since we have covered the nature of economics, we are going to test it a little bit. This is a past paper question used in October 2019. This is the new syllabus question and it is from section A, multiple choice question that will get you 1 mark. Which of the following best describes nature of economics? A. Economics is physical science. Economics is a social science. Economists investigate the allocation of unlimited resources to satisfy limited wants. Economists use scientific experiments keeping all variables unchanged. Now, when looking at this, the physical science part doesn't agree with what we just went through, right? The second one, there is high possibility and definite possibility of it being accurate. Let's look at the other options too. The C is correct, but it doesn't completely describe the nature of the economics. The D question, again inaccurate since we do keep variables unchanged. So, what is the answer? Did you get it correct? I hope you got it correct. It is B, you're correct. Economics is a social science. If you got this answer correct, good job. The next part of the lesson is positive and normative economic statements. Positive and normative economic statements. Why are we going into this? Why are we studying this? Because economics is concerned about 2 types of investigations, that is positive economic statements and normative economic statements. And these 2 types of statements or evidences give us insight into how we can make value judgments, and it also influences economic decision making and policies. Hence, these 2 types or parts of economics is as important as any other concept in economics. To understand this, let's make a comparison between positive economic statements and normative economic statements. Positive economic statements are objective and normative economic statements are subjective. This is the key to this. If you understand this, you can easily separate and distinguish these 2 types of statements and evidences. What is objective? Objective means not influenced by personal feelings or opinions in considering and representing facts. That means there is no biasness, no emotions, no feelings, it is facts. Subjective means based on or influenced by personal feelings, tastes or opinions. It is how somebody feels about something. It is subjective. This is very important. Objective, subjective. This is the first mark that will be given when you define the concept. The first demand, they will demand for this difference. If you get this, your first knowledge mark is guaranteed. Let's look further into this. There are many ways in which we can differentiate these 2 types of statements, objective, subjective, as mentioned before. Then we also say positive economic statements are based on facts and theories, the second marks given. Normative economic statements are based on value judgments. Value judgments means what? Our opinions, how we view or see this particular situation and how it will proceed. The next way in which we can differentiate is positive economic statements are supported or refuted by evidence. That means they can be proven or disproven. true or false, we can say. Okay? While normative economic statements, since there are viewpoints about the economy and how it should work, we cannot prove it or disprove it. That is very important to remember. Positive economic statements can be proven based on facts as they are objective statements. Normative statements or normative economic statements, it will be impossible to prove in any way whether it's right or wrong, because these are subjective statements which are completely based on value judgments and viewpoints. This is an example given. India's current spending on education is 3.8% of its GDP. We can check whether it is true or false. If it is exactly 3.8% of its GDP, we will consider it being true or proven right. If it is 4.8, then this statement becomes wrong or will be disproven. On this side, the government should increase the state pension. This statement doesn't have any facts. It is somebody's viewpoint, and it is very evident. We also always use should, the term should, ought to. These types of terms in the statement itself gives us a hint that this could be a normative statement. Again, it could be. Okay? If there are any facts proving it, then we can't consider it as a normative statement. But without any facts, any evidence is provided, if there is a should or ought to be in the statement, we consider it normative because it's clear, it's somebody's opinion, value judgment. Let's do a little experiment with this. This is a statement that is provided in your past paper materials. Statement 1, Thailand is to introduce a tourist tax of 500 baht to cover the increase in number of unpaid medical bills of visitors. What type of statement do you think this is? Is it positive or normative? I will give you a little bit of time for you to decide it. It is a positive statement. What gives this away? It says tourist tax of 500 baht to cover the increase in number of unpaid medical bills of visitors. We can check this. How? Using their reports, their published data, we can check whether this is accurate or not. Hence, this statement becomes a positive economic statement. This is what is provided to you by the mark scheme. According to the mark scheme, this statement is positive because it is supported by statistics and facts. Hence, it is a positive statement. If you got this correct, give a pat on your back. You deserve it. You did well. Statement 2. The plan to introduce a tourist tax to cover the unpaid medical bills of visitor to Thailand is fair. Now, is this a positive or normative statement? Let's check if you got it right. It is a normative economic statement. Why? Because it doesn't provide any data, no evidence, no statistics, no facts given, and also it includes fair. Fair is a very subjective term. Fair differs in different ways for everyone. The definition of fair, what I consider fair and the next person consider fair and what you consider fair is completely different. Hence, it is very difficult to prove this statement. Hence, becomes a normative economic statement. Moving on, why do we study positive and normative statement? I mentioned before that because it has an impact on how economic decisions are made. In an ideal world, we definitely have to rely on facts and positive economic statements when making economic decisions and policies. But in reality, it's a bit different. Why? Because in a society, when making economic decisions, we have to always rely on what people actually need, based on which we have to make our decisions. Now, that means we might rely on positive as well as normative statements in making decisions. For example, let's take this pandemic. We are making number of decisions based on facts as well as what the specialists and experts suggest to us when taking all our individual, organization level as well as government level decisions and policies. Hence, we have to know what are we depending on and how much we can rely on it when we are making decisions. So, these two statements, whether it's positive or normative, is important in economic decision making, and we have to be very well aware of it too. That is all the content that we have to cover for today. Let's do a little bit of practice that will give you confidence in your exam. This is again a past paper question taken from the previous syllabus, but it is applicable here too. Statement 1. Thailand increased the amount it spends on education as a percentage of GDP from 4.1% in 2009 to 7.6% in 2012. You can think there too. It will save time. You can put whether you think it is a positive or normative statement there itself. The next statement, Thailand should view its education system because it spends more than neighboring countries, but its students perform less well according to international comparisons. We'll give you a little bit of time to decide. Let's see, the correct answer is D. Statement 1 is positive. Why? Because it is supported by facts and statistics. It is objective and we can prove whether it is right or not. Statement 2 is normative because it is again a value judgment. They are saying that and the term should is used as well. Hence, it becomes clear that this statement we can't prove whether it's right or wrong. There is no evidence on which we can base this statement. Another question, statement 1. A global minimum wage should be introduced to help the poorest workers in the world. Statement 2. There is a variation in monthly minimum wages in Europe ranging from 159 euros in Romania to 1,874 euros in Luxembourg. Which of these statement is positive or normative? Okay, let's check the answer. It is B. Statement 1 is normative. Again, it is somebody's opinion that minimum wage should be introduced to help the poorest workers. This might be true, this might not be. We don't have any evidence to check this. This is somebody's opinion. The next statement, there is a variation in monthly minimum wage. We can check whether this is right or wrong. If there is a variation, it is very clear there. We can check again the statistics and data and say whether this statement is right or wrong. Hence, it is a positive statement. Now, so far I have shown you multiple choice questions, section A questions. The next question that I am going to show you is a section C question, which is a 4 marks question, and to answer this you have to use the source booklet that is given with the question paper. The question is asking for positive economic statement. It is, and also they are demanding 2 examples. These examples you should use the data and only the data. How to get 4 marks for this question? This is what the mark scheme suggests. 2 marks for knowledge, 2 marks for application, as I have mentioned in the first class. How to get 2 marks, the knowledge part? As I told you before, you have to explain it is objective and what objective means, and also you have to mention that these are statements which can be proven using statistics and data and not biased or value judgments. There you will get 2 marks. You can include 2 of these explanation of the economic statement. Then the other 2 marks you can get by giving 2 examples. Both the examples should be taken from the extract. These are some examples that is given in the extract. I have taken it down here, which will help you in answering the question. So, 2 knowledge, 2 application, definition 2 points, examples 2 examples. You will get full marks. This is where we wrap up. These are some checkpoints that will help you. These checkpoints will give you a clear idea of how much you actually understood of this lesson. If you got all this correct, that means you are fine, you have done it, the concept is clear, you're good to go, you can practice as many questions as you want. That means you have done a good job. Thank you so much. Hope you have a good day.